Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and today is Friday, and it is another Fan Art Friday. Today, usually I do something really pop culture-y, something that, like a Star Wars or Avatar Legend of Korra or I don't know, something along those lines. But today I'm going to focus on a more of an indie comic, and most of you guys that follow me probably know me from the 100 Days of Making Comics, and if you do, you probably know Kevin Cross because he's the one that kind of spearheaded that whole thing and got it going. So I'm going to do one of his characters, Monkey Mod, which hopefully you guys are familiar with, and if you aren't, then this will be something you got to check out. So, definitely go check out Kevin's site, kevincross.net, or I think Monkey Mod. I don't think it's monkeymod.com. I think it's like I think I tried to go there and it was like a broken link. But I think it's Monkey Mod on Tumblr is the site. You can check out his comics if you aren't familiar. But I have a feeling a lot of you people are. So anyway, this is just my version of Monkey Mod. He's on his flying scooter, and he's gone through a few different iterations, so this is kind of my take on him. I think it's close, hopefully sort of close to the current style that Kevin's drawing him in, but hopefully a little my personality might come out in it too, I don't know. But this should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. So I have, if you watch my last video, I got this Deleter Black #5 ink, and I'm really loving it. It's really smooth. Works great with the Copic markers. Doesn't smudge them or anything. But even when I'm not doing the Copics, I think I'm going to switch to this ink because I'm really digging it. I like it a lot. So I got a little bit of that in my little shot glass here, and I forgot to get a little scratch paper to. Hold on. Just 1 second. I usually try to get all that stuff organized before I get going. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is actually one that got a few different requests, so I had to throw it in there, and it's one of the few times where I can actually sort of get permission from the creator to do it. Usually with these fan art things, it's like, well, it is most of them are just fan art. So I mean, it's not like I could call up Warner Brothers and hey, is it cool if I draw Batman today or whatever? Which technically they probably have to say no, even though for my purposes, just for drawing these for fun. I mean, I don't see too big of a problem, but I don't want to get all caught up in technicalities. And we've talked about that a little before on the show, and some problems people have had with fan art and everything. So, but and anyway, it's not, like I said, it's not really my the fan art stuff's not my main focus. It's just fun to do. This is again just my time to draw some characters that I love and just put one day aside a week to do that. But yeah, like with this one, I was, able to actually ask Kevin's permission, and of course he was cool with it, which I would be too. I mean, I'd love it if people did their version of my own characters and all that too. So, but so this is a little bigger piece that I'm usually doing on these, so I had to pull. I gotta watch out. I'm gonna smudge. I'm trying to get too quick. Gotta rotate a little bit more. I don't want to have to break out too much of the Pro White and cover up any smudges and things. I like it when you can do a whole piece and not have to correct anything like that. But sometimes I get a little carried away, and then I'll smudge it a little bit. Have to watch that. But yeah, I'll kind of say it again. I highly recommend this Deleter ink. It's I don't know. I've used, I used a bunch of other inks, and I don't, for whatever reason, this one it just really feels like it goes on smooth, and it's plenty black. So it's funny because I drew when I did children's videos, I created a character called Alex the Ape. So drawing cartoon monkeys is kind of like something that have a little bit of experience with, and Monkeymon's a little different than that, but than that particular character. But there are some similarities just in how I drew the face and stuff like that that I can kind of see shine through when I'm doing this. Yeah, today's kind of a busy day for me. Not so much. I like actually like my freelance stuff is kind of on standstill right now. I'm waiting back from clients and stuff like that. But it's actually as I'm recording this, it's pretty early on Friday. It's um, like 6:30, and it'll be a little later before I can get this thing up. Um, in the morning anyway, because I've got to go. I have to go meet a client and discuss a project pretty soon, and I don't want to wait too long to do that because you gotta. It takes a while to get this thing rendered and up on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So, trying to make this the first thing I do today. And I still haven't had breakfast, so if you probably can't hear it on camera, but if my stomach starts growling, I can hear it and I can feel it. But let's see, what's this here? But yeah, and then after that, I got to get back and I've got to do some cleaning to my house. Uh, my son is actually he's having a birthday party. It's like he's going to be 18 actually. It makes me feel old. Um, but yeah, he's big into, he's always been big into like anime and stuff like that, and that kind of introduced him to just, I guess Japanese culture in general and everything. So he wants to have, you know, I asked him what he want. I thought, we'll get a pizza or whatever, but he wants like some Japanese food and everything like that. So I gotta try to figure that out. Um, but yeah, so he's got a bunch of friends coming over tonight and everything. So I got to get things ready for that. So still got to run to the store and do a bunch of different errands and things like that. So hopefully I'll have time to do all this stuff, but I don't want to, I always want to put one of these out, these Fan Art Fridays. I don't want to, I'm kind of on a roll with it. And it's something like when you get in a habit of doing something, you really want to, you want to stick with it. You don't want to even just like a little breather sometimes can just throw everything off. Like I was watching Kenny Keene is another one of the guys who's doing 100 Days of Making Comics, and he's already finished his, and he's doing he's doing updates kind of like I am, which I haven't done one. I've been doing the what do you call it, the Mad Props videos, which if you aren't familiar with those, that's kind of where I take some of my experience in like set design and stuff, and design little props for either Halloween or like this new video series I'm doing and all that. But Kenny was talking about how he was kind of in this rut with his comics, and he just wasn't finding the time to work on his projects, or just, motivation might have been a factor. And I can totally relate, because I'm kind of dealing with that right now. I mean, I was going, full force with the 100 Days of Making Comics on my Young and the Dead comic, and lately I haven't been putting in that time, and it's like killing me. So I thought maybe if I just take a little, like a week and a half break or whatever from it, and to come back to it with a fresh perspective, it might work. And I don't know, like I said, it's kind of, when you do it every day, it becomes a habit, and then when you get out of it, it's almost like you were, I don't want to say it was easy, because it wasn't, the 100 Days of Making Comics, but you just get in the habit of putting those videos out and doing your pages and stuff every week. I mean, every day. And then when you stop doing that, it seems like the production kind of goes with it. So, but I definitely want to get back to the comic and start, putting in that time every week. And it shouldn't be too hard. Like sometimes you do need to take a break. So it's kind of, I'm trying to say two different things at once. And one side I'm trying to say, keep at it, don't stop, because you'll lose your momentum. And then I'm also saying, well, sometimes you need to step back a little bit. So I don't know what that says. Giving you conflicting advice, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So I'm, I've got some other stuff going on right now that kind of took me away from the comic. And like on Thursdays, I was talking before, I was going to start going to this drawing, meet up at one of the local comic shops here. And Thursday before last was Thanksgiving, so I didn't get to do, they weren't doing it then, obviously. And then yesterday, I was thinking about going over, but I just had so much other stuff to do. Like I said, getting ready for this party and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of digging this. This is a fun one for me. Usually I try to rush through these, just to do quick sketches. I'm trying to not rush so much with this one. So hopefully I'll be able to finish it on time, within an hour, which is usually my goal for these Fan Art Fridays, is kind of keep them around an hour. And appreciate anyone who sticks with me for that whole hour and watches these. I still want to do some that are kind of sped up and where I talk over it. It's just, to me, it's easier just to record it in one shot and not have to record it once and then come back and do the voiceover and everything. So we'll see. There's going to be quite a bit of black on this one. So I'll have to do quite a bit of filling, because his suit underneath is all black and his fur is black. So yeah, maybe, hopefully, I didn't even think about. I've been thinking about this party and everything, and and all the other thing. Well, let me go back a bit here. But I've been thinking about this party and this. I'm doing a convention, which I'll get to in a minute. But getting all that stuff ready for that, and with this, and I wasn't really thinking about the weekend so much. So I might have some free time to get back into, the comic and everything. Hopefully, because I want to do another update and I want to have some stuff to show, and I want to, get this comic moving, because there's other stuff. There's other stuff I want to get to too. I mean, I'm dying to do some more prints. I haven't designed any, any of my art prints lately, and I've got a couple of new ones that I'm gonna have at the show that I didn't have at the last show, but I've got just a load of ideas of things I want to get to. So as far as my Circworks prints go, but I just haven't had time to do that, and I don't really want to do that. My goal is to do the comic first and then start working on some of these other prints and get a little surplus of those going at least. But so far it's taken me a little while on the book. So, but if any of you guys if any of you guys happen to be in Phoenix or planning to be in Phoenix next weekend on the 12th through the 14th, I'll be exhibiting at Phoenix Fan Fest, which is a new convention that's put on by the same people that do Phoenix Comic Con, which is a great show. So I'll be there, and I've been taking some video, which I'll do for another Mad Props episode that will probably put it out Monday or Tuesday next week. But if you've seen, I designed a booth, but for this one I just got a table which is a little smaller. I mean, it's the difference of a booth is usually, I think, a 10 by 10 space, and the table, they give you a 6-foot table, and then you get a little backdrop there and everything. So I'm trying to take all, everything that, or a lot of the stuff that fit in my table, and try to work, fit in my booth, and try to work that into that smaller table. And we'll see how that works. Gonna have to figure out a lot of that this weekend. One of the things I'm doing is I'm going to try to go a little more vertical, and because I can go up to like 12 feet high, which I don't know if I'll go that high or not, but that should allow me to put a little more product up, as far as prints and things. But I got a lot of other stuff that doesn't really fit on a wall so well. I've got like little novelty products and things like that fit better on the table. And my comic books, obviously I want those on the table. So my table's about half the size, well, way less than half the size. So we'll see. I'm still trying to figure out what's best, if for me, the booth or the table. I mean, there's advantages to both. I mean, the table, obviously you save quite a bit of money. It's usually like about half the price, because the fee for exhibiting, cuts into whatever your profit is from a show. So that's a big factor. But then again, you can't bring as much. You're depending on the way it's set up. I mean, Phoenix is usually pretty good. I've known a lot of people that are in the Artist Alley that do really well. But sometimes Artist Alley, you get kind of put on the outskirts, and you don't get as much traffic. So with the booth, you get a little more traffic. which is always good. You're kind of in the up there with the, you know, the main attractions and things like that. But like I said, it does cost a little more to exhibit. So I'm still trying to weigh that. I've still got my for next Phoenix Comic Con this summer. I still have the I got another booth. So I've got the big one here, and so I'm just gonna I'm still gauging what works better for me anyway. But this was like a new show. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if they were gonna have the audience. Well, obviously, I can pretty much tell you they're not going to have the audience as Phoenix Comic Con. At least not now. It may, you know, I'm sure it will grow and everything. But this, I was just surprised how fast they put this together. You know, it was only, you know, 3 months ago that I heard anything about it at all. So. But anyway, we'll see, you know, and I'll definitely report back on that kind of stuff. What you know, what's working, what's not. I need to do. That's one thing I really should do more of is update my blog. I'm kind of using the YouTube as my blog for the most part. You know, anything that I thinking of at the time when I was doing the 100 Days of Comics, I would just kind of spout that off, but it's just so hard to manage all these different avenues of social media and you know, things of that nature. Like Facebook, really all that's happening on Facebook now is it's reposting my videos from YouTube. So that's another thing I really got to get back on, because I've got I got a decent amount of followers on Facebook, you know. So I shouldn't just only be posting, you know, the videos and that's it. I should have some original like Facebook content. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this show. I'm still, because I have a lot less space, I'm still debating whether I should sell any of my, you know, my pop culture parody stuff. I've got a few designs that are, you know, they're similar to what you see on like the T-Fury t-shirts, where they're kind of parodies or mashups and certain things like that. And, you know, I really do, you know, I want to concentrate on my original Circworks, you know, mad science, evil genius, retro sci-fi themed stuff. But, you know, I've got a couple prints that, you know, really sell quite a bit that I don't know, you know, if I get rid of them. I'm thinking that maybe it just makes sense to just, you know, some of them I think eventually they're going to lose steam because they're, you know, they're not going to be as relevant. And in a way that'd be a good thing, because then it's like, oh, I don't need to bother with these. Like, and I've got prints and things that you know, that I've done that don't sell anything, that I'm not even going to bother bringing them this time, and that'll free up some more space for, you know, more of my original stuff. But there's just like one or two prints that, you know, are these pop culture parodies that really do well, and, you know, can almost pay for the table and stuff just off of those. But I don't, you know, the problem with that stuff is no one knows it. It's not branded with, it's not me, you know. It doesn't, it's oh, I don't want to say it's not me, because it's like, and I've probably brought this up before, but I'm a big fan of, as a kid, you know, I loved like Mad Magazine and Cracked and stuff like that. And just, I love, you know, and Weird Al even, like, I just love parodies and things like that. So I like doing that kind of stuff. I like, you know, doing kind of funny takes on pop culture. Like, it's, you know, I like satirizing that stuff. So it's, it's fun for me to do that. I do like it, but the problem is it doesn't, people recognize, oh, this is, the one print that I'm talking about that usually sells a whole bunch is the Tron Burgundy one, which is basically Ron Burgundy, but he's got all the lights and stuff, and he looks like, it's like Tron, and but although that's just fun to do, and it's fun to riff on that kind of stuff. It doesn't. People buy that because they like Tron or like Tron Burgundy or because they like the gag, but they don't. They're not. I mean, anyone could have created that or designed that. It doesn't have a that touch that my other stuff has. It's the other stuff kind of has a theme, and it's like, oh, you're the guy that does that, where it's like no one's gonna come back and who's that guy that did that Batman fan art? No one cares. They care about the character. They don't care about who's selling it, or it could be anyone. So anyway, that's just kind of some things that are going on inside my head. What I think I might do is, like, I know with because I'll bring like my little fan art sketches and stuff, and people like to flip through those. So I might do the same with just my pop culture prints. I might just instead of trying to find space on my table, just put out like a box that people can flip through those, because that way I can get rid of them, because I've already paid to print them. I'd like to get them off my hands and just probably not print anymore, and then once hopefully eventually they'll sell, but not really focus on it too much. But the other thing is, I mean, a lot of times that's what attracts people to the table. They'll be walking by and they'll see that, and you just, I can't tell you how many people have went by that Tron Burgundy print and just like started cracking up and pointing it out and laughing. And sometimes they'll just buy it on the spot. Sometimes they'll come back, But if anything, I mean, at the very least, they're usually laughing at it. And like I said, I mean, it's not going to be so topical. I mean, eventually, each one of those properties onto themselves, I mean, there was kind of a resurgence with the Tron Burgundy 2, which wasn't really that great. So that's kind of gone, and Tron really right now I don't know if there's any plans to do anything new with Tron, but you mash those two things up, and there's still I think there's people still find it amusing or whatever. So, but maybe if I just put a little, stack of them these prints that people can flip through and not focus so much, even though it does get people to the table and check stuff out. But then what are they checking out? Are they checking out my, original stuff, or are they just checking out stuff that they're already familiar with? I did screw up here. Let's see. So the brake on this scooter, I can fix that. It's supposed to go in the foreground here, and I didn't do that. So I'll have to go back in and fix that. So anyway, yeah, if you guys, I don't know, any of the stuff that I talk about, if you have any advice for me or whatever, because that's a good thing about doing these. And that's the other thing I was talking about Facebook, but I really need to get more involved with Twitter too, because to me, I like Twitter, but I haven't used it as much lately. I haven't went on there. Like, usually what I use Twitter for is like if people at tweet me, then it's a good way for people to get in contact with me if they just at tweet me, because I can usually get right back because I get an alert on that, and then I can carry on whatever conversation on Twitter. But I'm usually not scanning Twitter all that often, which I used to do a lot, and I used to interact a lot more, but I don't do that as much anymore. Or obviously to post like alerts, and and I don't even do that as much anymore. But I still get people like all the time. I get new followers on Twitter, so I mean, there's people following him there, so again, I should add some content to that. Here's another thing that I messed up a little bit on. I was going to put a little sticker on there, which should go over that line, but that's the problem when you work real loose like me. Is I pencil all this stuff super loose, and then sometimes I don't see the lines because there's so many lines that's real sketchy, and some of the lines I'm using, some of them I'm not. Like if I was to go over this blue line with a pencil and and choose exactly where the ink's going to go, it would be probably look a lot cleaner. I think that's why, like, if you do look at like Kevin Cross's stuff, I mean, he does that. He'll do his loose sketch and then he'll do the tight pencils, and you can, I mean, his ink work seems so precise, and I think a lot of that has to do with because he knows exactly where he's going to lay his inks down. Whereas me, it's I'm looking here. There's like 3 or 4 little sketchy lines, and which one do I follow? But I don't know. Maybe that comes through as a style. Maybe it's a little looser on mine. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Let's see. So I think this is his tail here, which I really wanted to have the tail like out because tails are fun to draw, and the way they whip around and everything, it kind of adds some motion. But I'm having him kind of busting through this kind of mod symbol, like it's a big poster that he's busting through, and it just wouldn't make sense for his tail to be in front of it when part of the back of the bike is still behind it. So unfortunately, you don't see much of the tail. So yeah, man, I'm getting thirsty. I might have to shut this off for a second and go get a drink. My mouth is getting super dry. Let's see, where are we at? We're at 32 minutes. I'm gonna pause this real quick. You guys probably won't even notice the difference, but then I'm gonna get myself a drink and come back and work on this again. That's better. All right, where was I? Somewhere around here. Wait, what am I? Okay, what is going on here? I think that was part of his parka. Coming over, and then this is his suit coming in, which I don't know if we'll see. This might just get the solid black treatment, but for now I'm just gonna pop this in here. I think this is one that's really going to come to life once I start adding the blacks and everything. You know what I should have done while I washed out my brush was go ahead and come in here, which I'll still do, and do some of these ellipses. So let's see what we have here. I think that's about right. And I don't know, well, with this mod symbol in the back, when I drew it with pencil, I don't have a compass or anything, so I just found these big lids like to butter, margarine, or whatever, and did it with that. But I might not use the ellipses on these because I want it to look like paper, so I don't know if I want it to be that accurate. So I don't know, we'll see. But I definitely, for the wheels and stuff, I want to pop those things in. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to draw an oval when it needs to be a circle. Let's see where we're at. Where are we at here? Sorry, I'm not talking as much right now. I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay. I don't really know exactly how these scooters look. I had a reference when I drew it, but then, and this, I don't know if it's a particular model. I mean, Kevin would know more about this stuff. I just looked at a bunch of different Vespas, and, you know, like some of them had, I don't know. I think when I've seen Kevin draw it, he didn't put like the mirror on it, so I don't know if that's like, I don't know what, you know, I've seen some with mirrors, some without. I don't know if that's like a cool thing, like it's not cool to have the mirror. Well, it seems like you almost have to have the mirror so you could see, but anyway, I don't know. So anyway, let's see. Where are we? I guess I'm done with that part there. Let's go back to the brush. But yeah, if you, like I said, I'm sure most everyone is that follows me probably also follows Kevin and his video series that he's doing right now, where it's Kevin Draws Comics and other stuff. And I'm really anxious to see this book that he's working on, this mods book. A couple episodes ago, he was talking about it, and he did a whole history on just kind of a musical history on what, you know, what the mod movement was all about. And, you know, for someone like me, I mean, I have a sort of a passing interest in, like, I mean, I know a little bit about, you know, what mod is, and the, you know, how it's tied to like the British invasion and everything. And you know, a lot of those groups I do listen to and everything, but it's just, like I said, it's not as much of a passion of mine, so I don't know as much. So it was really interesting to hear about that. But what I was kind of surprised, you know, just because I guess what brought it up was he was talking about how his publisher was interested in how, you know, an American punk would be interested in the mod movement. And he was talking about how a lot of, I guess, the punk artists that was, you know, that was some of their inspiration, or that was where they, you know, that was, what am I trying, I guess that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Their inspiration came from that type of music. And to me, it mirrored a lot of, because, like, I wasn't, like, growing up, I wasn't, like, huge into punk. I was kind of, I mean, I don't know, I guess I should back up. Like in high school, I don't know, I don't think I didn't really fit into any particular, like, clique or any, you know, anything like that. Or I was always, really into, like, hip hop and, like, soul music and stuff like that. At least in high school and everything. And I'll go back and talk about how I kind of got into all that later. But then, you know, those weren't the only people that I hung out with, because, you know, in high school, you know, I'm a little older, so, you know, it's not, hip hop back then wasn't what it is today, where it's just, you know, all over the radio and everything. And there's like just hip hop only radio stations. I mean, that back then, that would have been absurd. You know, it just wasn't like that. I mean, there wasn't, at least, you know, at least in like white suburban Arizona, America, where I grew up, it wasn't, you know, if I lived in New York, it would have been a different story. But it was, you know, this is a little, you know, not a little towards the beginning of, you know, hip hop and everything. But anyway, you know, I had I guess the people I hung out with were pretty varied as far as what they're interested is were and stuff. I didn't hang out with one particular group, so I had a lot of friends who were big time into punk. So I mean, I was exposed to a lot of that, and I got into a lot of that stuff too. And I went to like tons of punk shows with my friends, and was out there in the, you know, I don't know if they were called mosh pits back then. I guess they call them that now, but yeah, I did all that stuff, and it was always a fun experience. And so I had some interest in all that, but that wasn't my main, type of music. I mean, but I was real familiar with it just because, my friends like, hey, let's go to this show, and we go out to this. They're usually, it was really cool because even today, I don't like going to like big concerts. I like real like intimate, like I'll listen to like, I like a lot of, nowadays I like a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, and I just like to go, like just at a club and listen to, a band, playing, or an artist or whatever. And I'm not big into like huge concerts, but the punk shows were always like, they were at this like VW, not VW, yeah, what is it, the Veterans Halls or whatever. They just rent out this little hall, and then they put on the shows, and it was really, and I mean, there were a lot of people at the shows, so it was kind of cramped and everything, and it was like, but it wasn't like these big arena shows, which, I don't know. To me, it's, you lose a lot. And I've been to stuff like that because I'm a big fan of like Kiss, and they're, they don't play little shows like that. So I've been to like arena shows and stuff like that, like rock concerts and stuff, but that's not, really my favorite venue. But then again, somebody like Kiss, you've got to see big and loud, and because that's what they are. They're more it's more about the showmanship with a band like that than it is really about the music or anything. But I don't know. I think I'm going all over the place. But anyway, I always kind of wonder, because of all the punk shows that I saw, I always wonder if I ever did see like any of Kevin's bands performing, because I don't remember half the band's names that I went and saw. Some of them I do, but the big one for me, I guess, the one that I still listen to this day, and they're not really, I don't know if you would consider them punk. I mean, they kind of had punk roots, but they kind of went off in a different direction, which, I like. I mean, I guess if you're a punk purist, you probably don't, but like Social Distortion, that's, that's one that I went and saw tons of times, and I really do like them. And I like their stuff even today, even their new stuff I like. But it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know how you would describe it. It's almost like a little bluesy, a little like, I don't know. It's not rockabilly, but I don't know what you would call it. But anyway. But again, I'm going all over the place, and I forgot what my original point was. But I guess it was just to say that hold on, I'm just trying to think and draw at the same time. I guess what I was saying, I was trying to compare it to like with hip hop, because when I was a kid, I started getting into hip hop around when, I guess it was like breakdancing was real popular. And if you know anything about me, I have like zero rhythm, but early on when I was a kid, I didn't know that. So we would get like the big roll of like linoleum tile, and we'd roll it out in the driveway, and me and a couple of friends of mine, we'd think we were breakdancing and everything, but it was just so bad. But from that I started getting into like early hip hop, like, and I was movies like Beat Street and Crush Groove came out, so I was like, I like Grandmaster Flash and Dougie Fresh and stuff like that, Africa Bambaataa and all that stuff. And then later on, like groups like Run DMC came around and kind of broke that kind of wide open. And but so I was always kind of into hip hop, and not so much anymore. It's kind of that's another thing that I think mirrors what Kevin was saying about punk, where it became, I think, the the music industry kind of, hey, people listen to this stuff. Let's kind of take this and change it around a little bit and make it something that it wasn't before, so it's got more mass appeal and everything. And now it's like hip hop is like I said, now there's radio stations and everything there's dedicated to hip hop, and I don't want to be like one of these guys. It's like, yeah, I knew this band before anyone else or whatever, because if I find something I like, I want to, excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. Let me clear my throat while we're on the subject of hip hop. What was I saying? Yeah, I don't want to be like one of these guys like, oh, I knew about this band before anyone else, and all this kind of stuff. And because if there's something you like, you should share it with people, and it's cool that other people get into it. But when it starts becoming different, than it originally was, because I don't know. And I don't want, also, when I say I'm not really into the modern hip hop, that's kind of not fair to say either, because I'm sure just like comic books, there's all different kinds of hip hop. It's not just one kind, and there's still a lot of underground stuff that I'll hear, and I don't seek it out as much anymore. But I'll hear it, and then I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. That reminds me of what I used to like, or whatever. I think I'm ready to switch to the. Oh no, not yet. Sorry. But yeah, what I was saying was the as far as like comics and stuff go, I mean, when people say, "Oh, I don't really like comic books," and really what they're saying is, I'm not really into superhero comic books. But it's like people don't say, "I don't really like books," because everyone seems to know that there's more than one kind of book. It's not. But it's like with comic books, the first thing people go to is like superheroes, when there's so many more, kinds of comic books out there. There's so many, it's like genres and genres upon genres of different comic books. So it's not like there's just one kind of comic book. So, and I'm sure it's the same with any type of music. So, but I don't know. It's just from the stuff that I'm familiar with and everything. It's just not really the same. And I think once it became more mainstream hip hop, anyway, I just kind of, it seemed like the music changed along with it, and it's not really what I'm into anymore. But I still like the old stuff. But I guess another one of the comparisons that I wanted to make was when Kevin was saying how a lot of punk music took their cues and got their inspiration from the mod movement, and that's kind of how I discovered like soul music, because it's with punk, you'd probably have to hear an interview on an artist saying, yeah, this is what inspired me or whatever. Or maybe some of that comes through with the music, but with like hip hop, it's really evident, because you'd listen to a song and, hip hop, a lot of that stuff, especially in the early days when it's before, lawsuits came around. I mean, it was all samples, they would sample other music, and then, so you'd know this song is a rap song, and then you start listening to like earlier soul stuff, and you'd hear where this stuff actually came from, this music, and you hear the originals, and then you start to seek that stuff out. And then I started getting into that. You hear a rap song and like, oh, hey, that's from James Brown, or that's early Stevie Wonder or Parliament Funkadelic or Curtis Mayfield or something like that. So it's you just I guess one thing leads to another, where you first start listening to hip hop, and then you kind of, which I guess is backwards for a lot of people. Like if you grew up on that kind of stuff before hip hop started to kind of take foot, you would be like, well, this is just you know this is just James Brown, but when when you're young and you didn't grow up with that other stuff, you kind of find yourself discovering that. So anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. But yeah, you should check out Kevin's episode on mods if you want a little history about the mod movement and everything, and how it relates to punk rock and everything. You can definitely explain a lot better than I try to explain what I'm talking about. So I don't know how we are on time. Is this recording? Hold on a second. Hey, I'm back. I was gonna check how much time had elapsed on my phone, and I got a Twitter alert or something, and it was, when it happens, it covers the little timer, and I couldn't tell if it was recording or not or what. So anyway, I guess it was recording, because I was like, I can't believe I just went on that whole diatribe and it wasn't recording. But anyway, yeah, I looked at that, and it looks like we're getting close to an hour. So what I think I'm gonna do is, because I still got a lot of blacks and stuff, and I want to finish this, so I think I'm going to cut this right now and just turn the camera back on one more time, and then in post I'll speed it up. So from here on we'll do a speed drawing of me finishing this up, and then I'll come back at the end and say my goodbyes and all that kind of stuff. All right, so let's speed this thing up. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up Monkey Mod here. There might be some other little details and things I might add. But for the most part, yeah, this has been a fun one, at least for me. It's a chance to do something a little bit different. And yeah, so great request for the few people that did request Monkey Mod. If you guys have any other suggestions or things that you want me to do on fan art, some popular like pop culture characters that you want to see me take a crack at, let me know what you want me to draw, and I will try to fit those in. Again, so also, yeah, definitely, excuse me, like I said, if somehow you found this and you've watched this and you don't know who Kevin Cross is, check out his stuff at kevincross.net. And or if you found this because you're a fan of Kevin's and Thanks for watching. And if you like what you're seeing, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like, comment. Yeah, let me know. I try to, respond to anyone who comments and everything, and appreciate all the likes. And I've got some cool stuff on the way for this channel. So yeah, if you're so obliged, please do subscribe. And until next Friday, when I'll be doing another fan art character of some sort, possibly by your choosing, I'll see you then. Yeah, that is all.